and 3.4 crore. And bamboo, pan, lime, lemon, all these were on board for FPOs also. 239.6 crore rupees is the worth of it all. So FPOs have got remunerative prices for the farmers. I thank the Honorable Prime Minister once again. Thank you.
Dr. Sumer Singh Solanki.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, sir. Honorable Sir, in our country, for farmers' welfare, for development of farming, Honorable Prime Minister is the leader. Under his leadership, revolutionary steps are being taken. Honorable Finance Minister, the Agriculture Minister is the son of a farmer himself. Through you, I'd like to know from him, sir, about ENAM scheme, how many mandis and markets have been onboarded and what benefits accrue to the farmers. I'd like to know, sir. Honorable Sir, I'm very happy to tell that so far about 1,410 mandis have been put on ENAM platform. ENAM is a demand-driven scheme. It is up to the states to be part of it, because connecting all mandis means that inter-mandi trading will have to be permitted by the states.
Gandhi garu meer ప్రారంభించండి, కొనసాగించండి. గౌరవనీయ మంత్రివర్యులు కిరణ్ రెడ్డి గారు మాట్లాడతారు. నేనేం చెప్తున్నానంటే సహాయ మంత్రి గారు ఉన్నారు, నేను ఆర్థిక మంత్రి గారు కూడా తెలియజేస్తాను. వేణుగోపాల్ గారు. నిన్న కూడా ఆర్థిక మంత్రి గారు రావడం జరిగింది. అయినప్పటికీ కూడా సభ పూర్తిగా సజావుగా జరగలేదు. మీరోజు పూర్తిగా సభను అంతరాయం కలిగించారు. ఇప్పుడు కూడా మీరు తీసుకొచ్చారు, మంత్రి గారు లేని మళ్ళీ తెలియజేస్తున్నారు. నేను ఆర్థిక మంత్రి గారు తెలియజేస్తాను, మధ్యలో మీరు కొనసాగించేంత వరకు. మీరు అడుగుతున్నారు కానీ వినటం లేదు. మీరు వినండి. నేను మళ్ళీసారి సభకు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను, ఆర్థిక మంత్రి గారు సిద్ధంగా ఉన్నారు. నిన్న కూడా వచ్చారు, ఇప్పుడు కూడా వచ్చారు. మీరు నిన్న సభకి
Let the discussion begin.
Okay.
I will inform the finance minister.
Okay.
What is wrong in that? What is wrong in that?
Please, I have one sentence to say to all the honorable members. There is Benuji, you are a senior member of the House. There is no such type of rules that the finance minister should present in the discussion. There is no such type of rule. This is a convention. This is a convention only. So please, he already answered your concerns. And Mr. Gandhiji, please continue. Please, Venugopal ji. Mr. Gandhiji, please continue.
You mentioned that the finance minister.
Honorable member Gandhi ji, आप नहीं बोलना चाहते तो बाद में बुलाएंगे. गांधी जी, आप नहीं बोलेंगे. Next speaker is honorable member Rao Gajendra Singh ji. Next speaker, आपको बाद में मौका मिलेगा. Rao Gajendra Singh ji, please start. Please start.
धन्यवाद सभापति
He will be
महोदय।
given the chance. He will be given the chance, please. Okay, please. Manu Gandhi. Okay. Anurag ji, please. Please, Venugopal ji, please concern your voice in 30 seconds. Please concern your voice. आप सब बैठिए. Venugopal ji, speak for second. Venugopal ji, speak.
Bulldozing us. Where is the finance minister?
Please, Venugopal ji, please.
No, sir. Yeah.
I am allowing Venugopal ji, please. I am allowing Venugopal ji to raise his concern. He is a senior most member of this house. Venugopal ji, please. Raise your concern.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, with due respect to the chair, I would like to bring into your notice, sir.
Yes.
There are conventions in this parliament.
Yes.
Whenever a budget discussion is initiating,
Right. You are right.
I'm completely initiating. Honorable Finance Minister who presented the budget should be there in the house.
Yes.
Therefore,
hai.
that custom. Therefore, if finance minister
You
if
admit
finance
it,
minister,
this is a
Sir,
convention.
Sir,
This is not the rules.
Sir, finance
You
minister,
admit it.
parliament
This is
runs with
not the
convention,
rule.
sir.
This is a-
Sir, parliament is run with convention. Sir, one point, sir. If
Already,
finance minister,
Honorable Minister has
Sir,
told
sir,
that
sir.
he will request Finance Minister.
Sir, my point, sir.
Finance Minister.
Sir, my
Please,
point.
Anurag ji, please.
माननीय सभापति जी,
Anurag ji, please.
वित्त राज्य मंत्री पंकज चौधरी जी भी यहाँ पर हैं और लगातार जब हम भी विपक्ष में थे तब भी वित्त राज्य मंत्री उस समय की यूपीए की सरकार में तो तब भी हम भाषण करते रहे. इनके पास तर्कों की कमी हो गई है, बात रखने की कमी है, इसलिए हल्ला करने की रोज की आदत बन गई है. कल पूरा दिन वित्त मंत्री जी यहाँ पर थे तब.
Dharamveer Gandhi ji, please start.
सर,
Please. He will request. Dharamveer Gandhi ji, please continue.
सर, thank you, sir, for allowing me to.
I have given my ruling that there is no such type of rule that the finance minister should present. Yes, you are right that there is a convention that finance minister should present, but she will come later on. Our honorable MOS Finance, he is capable enough. He is sitting here. Please, Gandhi ji.
मैं आपकी भावनाओं को समझता हूं और आपकी भावनाएं ठीक है. मैं इंश्योर करूंगा जब कभी भी भविष्य के अंदर आने वाली भविष्य में कभी भी इस विषय पर पहले वक्ता के समय माननीय मंत्री जी रहेंगे. नहीं, आप नहीं बोलना चाहते तो मैं सत्ता पक्ष के लोगों को बुला दूं. हाँ, नहीं, मैंने आपको कह दिया.
finance minister
चेयर से इंश्योर कर दिया मैंने. वित्त राज्य मंत्री हैं.
2-3 ओवर करो सर.
नहीं,
उस समय
आप अपनी सीट पे जाएं प्लीज. नारायण जी. ओके. मैंने इंश्योर कर दिया है. नहीं, मैंने इंश्योर कर दिया. मारन जी मैं वित्त राज्य मंत्री बैठे हैं और कैबिनेट में सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी होती है, इसलिए ये कहीं रूल्स रेगुलेशन में नहीं लिखा कि कैबिनेट मंत्री रहें. हम नियमों प्रक्रियाओं से चलते हैं. नियम प्रक्रियाओं में राज्य मंत्री के साथ रहना इंश्योर है. वित्त राज्य मंत्री यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं. और प्लीज मैंने इंश्योर कर दिया. प्लीज
बीजेपी को
आप बीजेपी में आप नहीं बोलना चाहते.
आप मंत्री का
मैंने आपको स्पष्ट कर दिया है. मंत्रिमंडल में राज्य मंत्री को भी उतनी जिम्मेदारी है जितनी कैबिनेट मंत्री की है. और कई भी नियमों प्रक्रियाओं में नहीं लिखा ये परंपराएं हैं, परंपराओं का अपन पालन कर रहे हैं, ये अलग बात है, लेकिन आप डिबेट मत करिए इस विषय पर।
चेयर को चैलेंज करो।
इस डिबेट मत करिए इस विषय पर मिस्टर। आप सीनियर मंत्री रहे हो, आप डिबेट नहीं कर सकते। राज्य मंत्री रहते हुए भी कई बार सदन में चर्चा हुई है, इसलिए आप डिबेट मत करिए। आप रूल रेगुलेशन से चलेंगे, रूल रेगुलेशन चलेंगे। मैं आपका रेस्पेक्ट कर रहा हूं और मैंने कह दिया, मैं इंश्योर कर रहा हूं, मैंने 25 उदाहरण है मेरे पास। नहीं, आपकी मैंने बात सुन ली, आप चेंबर बताए ना।
Sir, but
No. Okay. मारन जी, प्लीज।
आ गई मैडम साहब।
चलिए प्लीज। वित्त मंत्री जी आ गए हैं, प्लीज। वित्त मंत्री जी आ गए हैं, आप। ओके,
मैडम आ गई है।
ओके। धर्मवीर गांधी जी, आपको अलाउ नहीं किया, प्लीज बैठिए। नो, आपको नहीं बोलना है। हाँ, मैंने आपका नाम लिया था, आपने बैठे बैठे टिप्पणी की थी। नहीं, कोई खड़ा करने का अधिकार नहीं है आपको। प्लीज धर्मवीर गांधी जी, यह आपका काम नहीं है, यह मेरा अधिकार है, किसको बोलने दूं, किसको नहीं बोलने दूं। धर्मवीर गांधी जी, बोलना चाहते हैं आप?
हाँ, थैंक यू सर।
नहीं बोलना चाहते क्या आप?
आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक ऑन बजट सर।
बोलिए।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to speak on the budget 25-26. And I thank you, my party, also for giving me this opportunity. Sir, at the outset, before I go for my regular comments on the budget, I would like to address to a basic question that India, as per our constitution, is a union of states. And the budget itself and the entire budgetary process is not federal in nature, it is unitary in nature, and the states have neither been consulted exhaustively, not allowed to participate in the budget making process. So that this is anti-federal, this is against the spirit of federalism and spirit of the constitution. So here I want to say that India, our country, is not India that carved out states out of it like Maharashtra, Punjab, Tamil Nadu or Bengal. Instead, it is the states which submerged their identities and made this country. So in the budget making process, this entire concept of a federal structure is being mitigated, is being destroyed, and not being taken into consideration. And the budget is unitary in nature. You are homogenizing the country. Every state had its own problems, own specificities, own particularities in education, in health, even disease patterns different in many states. It is own needs and priorities. They are never taken into consideration. They are never consulted. So budget is made while sitting in the rooms, and the states are not exhaustively consulted in making this budget. This is my first contention on this budget, stating thereby that it is unitary in nature and not federal, number one. And secondly, sir, this budget is not just question of data here and there, some promises here and there. It's about the nature, how the present government is going to mobilize, is going to use our resources to benefit the people of India, to benefit the entire population. And again, going back to the federal character, I say that where the entire GDP is produced, it is the states. Where the entire resources of the country located, it is the states. Where entire wealth generation takes place, it is the states again. But when it comes to budget, nobody bothers about the concerns of the states. So country is not just a geographical entity. A country means the country itself, the geographical country itself. A country means the resources of the country, And a country means most importantly, the most livid part of it, the people of the country. That's 142 crore people of India. So budget means that it should be directed in a way so that the people of the country are given the benefits of the natural resources. Their suffering are mitigated, and according to the commensurating with the modern level of development and modern level of economic and human development in the world. And so this budget, I will comment from this perspective. So I believe that budget is not, it should like one that guarantees work for every hand, that guarantee education for every child, and for standard health care for every family, and where a farmer in the field, or a worker in a factory, or an entrepreneur in a small town, or a student in a remote village finds hope and opportunity, sir. In this context and under these broad considerations and parameters, which include, of course, the inclusive growth, sustainable development, and future where fruits of development and prosperity is shared by all. So, sir, now let me talk on my first comment, that is agriculture. Sir, in spite of the fact that major part of GDP into 2025 comes from either manufacturing or from the service sector, and only 15% is contributed by agrarian sector. But the fact of the matter is that still agriculture remains the employer for 45% of our population. It is the employer 45. Almost half of our population relies on agriculture for their livelihood, for their employment. So this sector has been neglected very badly, not during past years, but even in this budget. And this government has little to offer to the farmers and the farming community or the labor community of this country in this budget. And sir, the present regime has a very skewed approach towards the farming community and in favor of the few mega corporate houses, and therefore it did not offer any relief to the farmers as regard to the legal guarantee on MSP, waiving of loans of farmers and the farming laborers, and not lifting or withdrawing GST on the farming equipments and machinery, and not giving a robust farm insurance or crop insurance scheme in the budget, sir. So it has totally failed to address the grievances of our farming community, and there is a lot of unrest all over the country, which is evident from the ongoing agitations all over the country, and thousands of farmers are committing suicide every year across the country, and we're talking. So because the farming has become unsustainable and not unrenewable, it is an unprofitable proposition. So more and more people are going out of farming, and there is no industrial growth, corresponding industrial growth to absorb this surplus force, because of the government has not paid any attention on the development of MSME sectors, which can create jobs for the people who are leaving farming. So that's the result, that there is a ever-time high unemployment for the last 60 years in the country. It is a result of this gross unemployment situation that the sons and daughters of Punjab farmers, Haryana farmers, or Western UP farmers are going to greener pastures at the cost of their lives, and they are being humiliated. The way they were sent back to Amritsar airport in a most humiliating and insulting manner, that shows that this government, which promised 2 crore jobs every year, has failed on this front very badly, and the youth of the country is in the total dark with total hopelessness, and they are compelled to leave their homes, their land, their parents, and go thousands of kilometers away to earn their livelihood. It is because of this government criminal neglect towards the farming sector and problems of the farmers, in spite of the fact that a long agitation took place where 800 farmers lost their lives, but it didn't concern our honorable finance minister to give some relief to the farmers. It did even pay a proper lip service. What all it did was it promised some paltry soaps like increasing loan limits without promising any real help to the farmer who is already indebted to the unsustainable level, sir. It is nothing less than rubbing salt on the wounds when it talks of, quote unquote, building and rural prosperity and resilience, quote unquote, by skilling and investment and bringing newer global technologies, again unquote. This is a plan more for a big agro corporation and companies like Bayer, Amazon, Google, and then a plan for debt-ridden Indian farmers, sir. So, sir, there are no provisions on the agro-based and value-added industry in the regions of green revolution to capture global markets, as is being done by China, Israel, and many Scandinavian countries. There are no budgetary plans to mitigate the suffering of rural India. So, this budget on the agrarian front is a total trash, total failure, and does not represent the aspiration of farmers, the majority of our Indian population. So, sir, because of the anti-farmer policies of the present government, as I already told you, that thousands of farmers are committing suicide every year, and further, because of farming being unsustainable and not a profitable profession, the farmers are leaving their lands, and they are not finding any suitable employment in the industry because industrial development is very sluggish and MSME sector is not developing at a pace where farmers can be, the surplus labor, surplus force from the farming sector can be absorbed. So the growth there is abysmal, rather negative. So it is a great crisis where our farming community has landed into because of continuous neglect of this sector for the last 10 years. Sir, now let me talk on the small and medium, small and medium enterprises, sir. MSME, I believe, is a backbone of our Indian economy in a country like India, which is very thickly populated. The labor-intensive industry, which can only be the small and medium-scale industry, the corporate sector is not creating any jobs. There is 10,000 crore factory. There are machines only, computers only. There are assembly lines. 10,000 crore factory generates 500 jobs, whereas jobs lie in Ludhiana and Punjab, for example, in Kanpur and UP, for example, and such hundreds of such towns and cities across the country where MSME sector has been regularly, continuously neglected at the cost of few mega corporates, and which is dying away gradually. And in 2024 only, 19,828 MSME units were forced to close because of this financial mismanagement and misplaced priorities of the government. The Congress during its rule had championed the cause of small businesses. It introduced priority lending to the MSME, a robust rural banking system, which the BJP has failed to sustain. The budget has precious little to offer for reviving MSME sector and through this reviving the economy, sir. And coming on to education, sir, health and education are the two basic needs of every individual born on this earth, born in any country. If we talk of education, right to education is the fundamental right of every child. I must emphasize here that education does not mean just knowing how to read and write. Education means full-blown development of a personal faculties, mental faculties of a person. It's not just primary or secondary education. So this aspect is being criminally ignored, on which lies the foundation of a new India by the government.
Should expand. Off the record, this word.
So sir, not by government is not spending enough on education as compared to US, China and other advanced economies. There is a continuous neglect. The states are not consulted. Their specific needs are not being addressed too. And over the years, the government is seen running away from its responsibility to impart standard education to its children, to its citizens. The government, because of this utter failure of the government, there's a mushrooming of private institutions, from school to colleges to universities, from medical to engineering institutions, and which has rendered education very costly and not students not eligible. They are not able to. They have no access to these costly institutions, and only the poor, not only the poor and underprivileged, but they have become unapproachable or unaffordable for the various section of middle classes also. So it's not the poor and the underprivileged. Even the middle class now cannot afford the private education of university and colleges and medical engineering colleges. So here the government did not take enough efforts to expand the budget, to increase the budget on education in a significant way, so that this problem of young India can be addressed too. This is in sharp contrast to our times, when primary to university education was within the very much reach of almost all sections of the society, sir. On research and analysis again, which is linked to it, to education and development, I will say that very paltry sum of budget is allotted to the research and development in the key sectors, in the important sectors, the new technologies, which is 0.64% of GDP, significantly lower than China and Israel and other advanced economies. Sir, the private sector is not doing enough to augment the development story of India. I know very well. I was a young man when our corporate sector, Tata's, for example, did wonders for the development of the country. Nobody invests in fundamental sciences. Tata, they built Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Tata Cancer Research Institute, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TIS, and many other institutions of world standard to augment Indian progress and to take further the story of developing India. But during the last 10 years, no corporate sector that has invested significantly in the R&D or in the development of standard institutions of engineering, technology, and other new technologies to take India forward. So this is a sad story. I don't know why governments have special attraction towards certain corporate houses, why those corporate houses are not investing enough to take India forward on way to recovery of economy and take India forward put in the race for an advanced economy. So it really disturbs me, because private sector in India is only contributing 36% to R&D, whereas Japan is contributing 70 or even more than 75% to the R&D sector, which our corporates are doing little on this account also. So the profit-oriented, these private institutions in education sector are not only exploiting students and their parents, they are exploiting the teacher community also. The teachers from university to college level are not only very lowly paid, but they are also, the very respected and revered profession of teaching is being mocked at by giving them either ad hoc or this TECA type system, which is contact system, which is not to the standard of teacher community. So they have reduced teaching into like a daily wage workers, which is a slur on all of us, on this government and on this country, that is, teachers are not being given proper pay so that they can devote all their time in their profession and they can take the country forward. So
that should be said.
The ongoing education system, moreover, does not invoke the sense of reason, inquiry, inquisitiveness, and scientific temper in our children, it does not fully unleash their creative and innovative potential. And health, sir, finally health. Madam Finance Minister, WHO long back gave a very great definition of health, very fine, very accurate definition of health. It states, and I quote, that health is not mere absence of disease or infirmity. It is a state of complete physical, social, and psychological well-being. So looking at all the three parameters of health, that is physical. If I talk of physical health, the problem of India are so great. We are deeply into a big problem. The physical health, because of chronic hunger, because of poverty, and because of malnutrition, lakhs of people die every year because of communicable diseases like TB, waterborne diseases like gastroenteritis, dehydration, and many other of the sort. On one hand, people are dying with the communicable diseases, waterborne diseases, and other hand, a small population is dying with lifestyle diseases like hypertension, diabetes, heart attack, dyslipidemia, and all that. So on physical front, we are practically poor because of malnutrition, because of communicable diseases, and because of waterborne diseases, and relatively affluent sections because of lifestyle diseases and the non-communicable diseases like cancer, accidents, and all that. So on physical health front, we are proven to be in a very bad shape. And sir, abhi to maine shuru kiya abhi to. And on the social front, even in the 21st century, the century of science, when we are living in 21st century, our country is riddled with issues like caste chauvinism, religious chauvinism, gender chauvinism, and society is sick with all these medieval mindset, and we are behaving like a sick society of sick people who have a gender bias, religious bias, and caste bias, which is making our society very unhealthy one on the social front. Similarly, because of miseries, economic miseries, health problems, unemployment, the psychological health of Indian people is also very poor, and so all the parameters we are in a very bad shape, and government should take care of all these problems. They take into consideration and bring a robust healthcare system. Of course, they did talk of cancer care centers in 170 districts and increase it in a phased manner. Yet it did not talk of preventive cancer detection, mass cancer detection center, which not only will detect cancer in first stage, where treatment is possible, it will not only save the life, but save the economy of the family also. So I think the government should come with a comprehensive cancer detection campaign, and screening of the all target population, for example, breast cancer in females, or cervical cancer in females, or the other oral cancer in tobacco chewers, and that target population should be marked, and their extensive screening program for early detection, early treatment should be started. Instead of just focusing on the curative approach, we should focus on the preventive approach on diseases like cancer and other such ailments, including the lifestyle diseases like blood pressure, hypertension, coronary artery disease, heart attack, and all that. We should go for mass education program and mass contact program to educate people, to make people aware of this problem, and work on the preventive approach.
Thank you, honourable member. Now I request.
No, sir, I should have 20 minutes, sir, 20 minutes.
Number of speakers from your party.
But sir, I am the principal speaker on it, sir. So, sir,
please conclude.
Ma'am, I will tell you that the disease pattern in a particular country changes with the conditions of that country, economic conditions of the country. For example, one economic set conditions have one set of diseases, and another economic set has another set of another set of people. But India is embroiled in the both the sets for the poor, disease of the poor and disease of the rich. So we should take proper attention in tending to both the twin problems of health in our country. So, sir, on fiscal deficit, the government has patted its back for bringing down fiscal deficit by 24-25 from projected 4.9 to 4.8, and further promises to bring it down to 4.4 in 25-26. But one has to ask, how is it going to be done? Who is being asked to tighten the belt? Given the hardship that people are facing today, given the dire condition in the economy, the first thing that a government should do is to increase the spending on social sector. Instead, this expenditure, especially on health and education, is either stagnating or even contracting relative to the overall growth of the government expenditure. The fiscal deficit is being controlled at the cost of social sector, sir. And this is happening at a time when only 2/3 of government revenue comes from direct taxes and borrowing, and only 1/3 is coming from income and corporate sector. Poor pay the GST and the excessive tax on petroleum. They are resented, denied help from government in education, health, water and sanitation, other basic services, sir. Okay. So, sir, the tax relief.
Thank you. Please.
The headlines have been grabbed by tax relief, sir. And sir, I will go, sir. The unemployment, sir, give me 5 minutes only. Unemployment. India had and still has the strongest demographic dividend for being the youngest nation in the world, which means we have 600 million people, 60 crore people. That is equal to population of entire Europe, who are in the young working age group from 18 to 35. Such a huge population. Sir, this is young India, which has the potential, this aspirational India, which can open floodgates of development if given an opportunity to utilize the potential at the optimal level.
Thank you, honourable member. Thank you.
Please conclude. No, sir, please.
You have a number of speakers to speak.
Sir, and finally, yes. People of India are reeling under unprecedented hardships and economic stress. The budget should always be an instrument in the hands of the government to improve the lives of the people, but no such, and especially in such conditions.
Thank you, honourable member. Now I call.
But sir, it should not be aimed at.
Rao Rajendra Singh ji, please start. Thank you. No. Okay. Rao Rajendra Singh ji, please start.
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। मैं बड़ी विनम्रता से अपने शब्दों के माध्यम से इस बात का अभिव्यक्ति करना चाहता हूं कि नायकेतर संस्कृति से अभिप्रात वो सारी कामुक शक्तियां जिनका आविष्कार उपनिवेशन काल में इस मां भारती की मानव संपदा को गुलामी के काल दंश से प्रताड़ित करने के उद्देश्य से प्रतियुक्त किया था, आज परिवर्तित प्रतिमानों में वो एक काल भ्रम सा साबित होती। एक दशक से भारत सरकार जिस नेतृत्व के आगाज पर मानव संपदा को और मां भारती के मानव जीव को जिस प्रकार से राहत पहुंचा रही है और इस राष्ट्र को विकास के मार्ग पर प्रशस्त कर रही है, आज ये सदन इस बात की साधुवाद देता है, उनका अभिनंदन करता है, उनका स्वागत करता है। मैं सभापति महोदय बड़ी विनम्रता से आपके बीच में कुछ ऐसे विषय प्रस्तुत करने का साहस कर रहा हूं। एक इकोनॉमिस्ट हुए हैं जिनको 2017 में नोबेल मेमोरियल पुरस्कार से नवाजा गया। उनका नाम है रिचर्ड एच थेलर। उनका इकोनॉमिक्स पे और मनोविज्ञान के साथ मानव का क्या उससे संबंध रहता है, उस पर उनका लेख। बिहेवियरल इकोनॉमिक्स पर उन्होंने अपनी बात कही है कि सिर्फ आंकड़ों के मायाजाल से आप मनुष्य को उत्साह, विकास और संपन्नता का मार्ग नहीं दिखा सकते जब तक कि वो मनुष्य मनोवैज्ञानिक तरीके से इस बात को स्वीकार कर ले और संतुष्ट हो जाए कि हां, उसके विकास और उसकी अपेक्षाओं के अनुरूप सरकार ने काम किया है। मैं उन्हीं के शब्दों में इस बात को सदन के बीच में रखना चाहता हूं। You want to nudge people into socially desirable behavior? Do not by any means let them know that their current actions are better than the social norms. A nudge, as we will use the term, is any aspect of the choice architecture that alters people's behavior in a predictable way without forbidding any opinions or significantly changing their economic incentives. मैंने ये बात इसलिए कही सभापति महोदय कि विचार और विचारधाराओं के माध्यम से जिस गहन मानव शक्ति के मनन शक्ति के माध्यम से हम भारत के इस मानव संपदा को उत्कृष्ट मार्ग पर प्रशिक्षित करना चाहते हैं, अगर साधारण और सरल शब्दों में ये बात कहूं कि वर्तमान में पेश किया हुआ वित्त अभिलेखा, जिसको हम सामान्य रूप से बजट कहते हैं, आज तक इस 5 दशकों के उपरांत इस 10 वर्ष में जिस प्रकार की व्यवस्था को अंजाम दिया गया है, उसमें भी अब का बजट सबसे ज्यादा उत्कृष्ट अभिलेखा है। मैं वित्त मंत्री जी का स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। मीमांसाओं और व्याख्याओं से पटा पड़ा है संसार। अपनी अपनी बात को अपने अपने तरीके से कहना और उसे सही मानने की प्रवृत्ति वाद विवाद के दायरे और घेरे पैदा करती है। कुछ यही स्थिति हमारी प्रतिपक्ष की है कि जब जब भारत की सरकार, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की व्यवस्था और यहां के वित्त व्यवस्थाओं के माध्यम से आम व्यक्ति को राहत पहुंचाने का कार्यक्रम होता है, तो प्रतिपक्ष की भूमिका उन 4 मानव दृष्टिविदित मानवों के प्रति होती है जो हमारी योजनाओं के आकार को अपनी आंखों से और बुद्धि से नहीं देखती, सिर्फ स्पर्श करके उसके आकारों की और उसके आकार की परिभाषित करने की कोशिश करती है। ऐसे दृष्टिविदित व्यवस्थाओं में आलोचना का माध्यम से वो साकार स्वरूप प्रदान करती है, लेकिन ये निराकार ब्रह्म है जो साकार व्यवस्था को सत्य के सेतु पर उस व्यवस्था से प्रतीक करता है, जिसका कि ये आज की तारीख में हमारा वित्त अभिलेखा है। मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, ज्ञान जैसे शब्द का उपयोग कर इस पूरे के पूरे बजट दस्तावेज को हमने 4 भागों में मांगा। गरीब, अन्नदाता, युवा और नारी। मैं सबसे पहले अन्नदाता की बात करता हूं। आदरणीय, आप स्मरण करिए कि 1951 में, जबकि पहला संविधान लागू तक नहीं हुआ था, चुनाव हो रहा था। 1951 में 1950 में आ गया था, चुनाव 1952 में हुआ था। 1950 में संविधान की व्यवस्था के उपरांत प्रथम पार्लियामेंट के चुनाव से पहले आप हमारा खाद्य सुरक्षा का पहला सेंसस आया था। प्रति व्यक्ति खाद्य सुरक्षा 394 ग्राम पर थी। आदरणीय, 7.5 दशक निकल गए, खाद्य सुरक्षा का अंजाम 60 वर्ष तक 394 से लगाकर 468.7 ग्राम तक सीमित रहा। जिस वक्त भारत आजाद हुआ था 35 करोड़ जनसंख्या थी, 394 हमारी खाद्य सुरक्षा थी। हम 100 करोड़ को पार कर गए, तब तक हम 468.7 और 468.8 के बीच में झूठ रहे थे। ये वर्तमान सरकार है जिन्होंने पिछले 1 दशक में इस 468 ग्राम को उठाकर 510 ग्राम तक लेके गए। मैं ये नहीं कहता कि आज भी ये कोई बहुत बड़ा कीर्तिमान है, लेकिन एक बात आपको सोचनी पड़ेगी कि 7 दशक तक अगर हर साल इन 75 वर्ष में अगर हर साल 5 ग्राम भी बढ़ता तो आज यह 1000 ग्राम तक पहुंच सकता है। लेकिन किसानों की बात होती है, गरीब की बात होती है, युवाओं की बात होती है, बात चर्चा तक हो जाती है। ऐसी सरकार नहीं आई थी जिसने बात को यथार्थ में प्रस्तुत करने की कोशिश करी है। आज अन्नदाता के माध्यम से इस बात के स्वरूप को मैं आपके बीच में निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि जिस प्रकार से किसान की व्यवस्था को अपने वर्तमान स्थिति से निकालकर एक खुशहाली की व्यवस्थाओं में स्थापित करने का अगर काम किया है तो भारत की सरकार और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में ये काम संभव हुआ है। मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, अगर आपको आपके अन्नदाता के स्वरूप में हम सबको अपने दायित्व का इस्तेमाल करते हुए संवेदनशीलता का अगर हमको व्यवस्था देनी है तो उस संवेदनशीलता में हमें उस मानव जीव को जो हमें अन्न जैसी चीज उपलब्ध कराता है उसको हमको अपने धर्म के माध्यम से अपने कर्तव्य के रास्ते से सुनिश्चित करना है कि उसके घर में रोशनी हो, उसके घर में पानी हो, उसके बच्चे अच्छा अध्ययन करें और उसके लिए वो सारी व्यवस्था हो जो किसी एक खुशहाल राष्ट्र के लिए होनी चाहिए। ऐसा खुशहाल राष्ट्र तब बन सकता है जब यहाँ का अन्नदाता इस सारी व्यवस्थाओं से पल्लवित हो। और मैं ये मानता हूं कि इस बजट के कुछ दस्तावेज जिन्होंने प्रधानमंत्री धन धान्य योजना के माध्यम से हमने जिस प्रकार की एग्रीकल्चर पद्धति की व्यवस्था को सुधारात्मक तरीके से विमोचित करने का कोशिश किया है वो साधुवाद के पात्र है। अब मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, बार बार राष्ट्र की फिजिकल हेल्थ के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा शोर होता है, लेकिन अचरज इस बात का है, वित्त मंत्री महोदया विराजी हुई हैं, हमें हमारे ही सरकार की व्यवस्थाओं पर और उनकी कृति पर संकोच, संशय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर बैठा हुआ व्यक्ति भारत में निवेश करने के लिए आतुर है। मैं उदाहरण देना चाहता हूं आदरणीय सभापति महोदय, इस पूरे 21वीं शताब्दी के ये पहले 25 साल में अगर भारत के अंदर जितना निवेश फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट के माध्यम से आया है तो 2025 तक $1 ट्रिलियन से कुछ ज्यादा का निवेश भारत में हुआ। आप अचरज करेंगे कि इस $1 ट्रिलियन के निवेश में पिछले 10 साल में जो निवेश आया है ये $1 ट्रिलियन का 62% हिस्सा है जो सिर्फ 10 साल में आया है 25 साल के इस काल तक, और उसमें भी 46 बिलियन तो सिर्फ इस साल आया। बाहर बैठा हुआ निवेश करने वाला व्यक्ति भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था में विश्वास करता है, लेकिन भारत का प्रतिपक्ष इसी निवेश और इसी अर्थव्यवस्था में संकोच करता है और आक्षेप लगाता है। बात बहुत बड़ी बड़ी करी जाती है, मध्यम आय वर्ग के लोगों के बारे में चिंता व्यक्त की गई, इससे बड़ा और उदाहरण क्या हो सकता है? हमारे सामने वो सारे के सारे अभिलेखे हैं, मैं आपके बीच में प्रस्तुत करना चाहता हूं। मध्यम आय वर्ग को जितना छूट और जितना फायदा वर्तमान सरकार ने दिया है पिछले किसी सरकार ने नहीं दिया, यह मैं आंकड़ों से साबित करना चाहता हूं। 2000 और मैं तुलनात्मक तल पर दूंगा, यह भी आरोप लगता है कि कॉरपोरेट जगत को ज्यादा दिया जाता है और व्यक्तिगत आय वाले व्यक्ति को यहां प्रताड़ित किया जाता है, जो कितना असत्य है मैं इस चीज को आपके बीच में पेश करना चाहता हूं। पिछले 5 वर्ष में जो इंडिविजुअल इनकम टैक्स पे हैं उनको इंसेंटिव और राहत कितनी मिली, उसका टोटल है 8,70,907 करोड़, और कॉर्पोरेट को कितनी मिली 4,53,329 करोड़। एक एक वर्ष का आंकड़ा है। 2019-20 में अगर कॉर्पोरेट जगत को हमने 94,000 करोड़ की दी तो इंडिविजुअल बेनिफिशियल्स इंडिविजुअल्स को हमने 1,55,500 25 दी। 2021 में 75,000 अगर कॉर्पोरेट को दी तो हमने 1,28,244 इंडिविजुअल बेनिफिट्स दिए हैं इनकम टैक्स पेयर को। 2021-22 को 96,892 कॉर्पोरेट को दिया तो 1,68,566 हमने इंडिविजुअल बेनिफिट्स दिए हैं। अगर 2022-23 का देखें 88,109 कॉर्पोरेट को दिया तो 1,96,678 व्यक्तिगत आय इंडिविजुअल इनकम टैक्स पेयर को दिया। और 23-24 का अनुमान है 98,899 अगर कॉर्पोरेट इंडस्ट्री को दिया है तो 2,20,988 इंडिविजुअल को बेनिफिट। अब आप बताइए, आंकड़े सही बोलते हैं और प्रतिपक्ष इस बात को स्वीकार करने को तैयार नहीं। इस प्रकार की व्यवस्था को अंजाम देने वाले वर्तमान भारत की सरकार इस बात के लिए साधुवाद की पात्र है कि जहां अब के बजट में आपने 12 लाख रुपए तक का जो इनकम टैक्स से उनको राहत पहुंचाई है, ये सोने में सुहागी वाली व्यवस्था है जो मैंने अभी आपके बीच में प्रेषित करी है। मैं अब आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि संपूर्ण अर्थव्यवस्था का अगर हम अभिलेखा को बड़ी अच्छी तरीके से, अभिलेखों को अभी बहुत अच्छी तरह से देखें तो हम ये पाएंगे कि भारत की सरकार ने अपने नौजवानों के लिए किस प्रकार की व्यवस्था करी है। मैं आपको निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, बहुत विनम्रता से इस बात को प्रस्तुत कर रहा हूं कि जितने हमारे सामने अभिलेख हैं उसमें सबसे पहले तो वर्ल्ड बैंक के कंट्री डायरेक्टर का वो व्यक्तिगत टिप्पणी मैं पहले प्रस्तुत करना चाहता हूं। India's economy has been remarkably resilient to the deteriorating external environment, and strong macroeconomic fundamentals have placed it in good stead compared to the other emerging market economies. वर्ल्ड बैंक के डायरेक्टर भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को संसार के बाकी राष्ट्रों की अर्थव्यवस्था और वहां की व्यवस्थाओं के तुलनात्मक रूप से बेहतर, अच्छा और सुदृढ़ बताते हैं। मैंने बीच में एक चीज छोड़ दी जो मैं इसमें जरूर देना चाहूंगा। पहली बार भारत की सॉवरेन सिक्योरिटी को जेपी मॉर्गन जैसे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के एक्सचेंज में, इमर्जिंग बॉन्ड एक्सचेंज में जगह मिली। 2013 से कोशिश कर रहे थे, 2023 में उन्होंने सहमति दी और 2023 के बाद में जुलाई 2024 को गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी बॉन्ड्स को वहां ट्रेड हुआ। और गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी बॉन्ड्स के ट्रेडिंग के उपरांत हमारी जो व्यवस्था है और जो हमारे भारतीय बॉन्ड्स हैं उनको जिस प्रकार का एक्रेडिशन मिला है 10 परसेंटेज पॉइंट तक है, 10% वेट मिला जो 31 मार्च तक चलेगा। आदरणीय जैसे ही ये चीज हुई उसका मैं आप और इसके साथ ही एफएआर के माध्यम से जो चाहे निवेश आता है, चाहे पार्टिसिपेटरी नोट्स के थ्रू आता हो या डायरेक्ट एफडीआई इन्वेस्टमेंट के माध्यम से आता हो, निरंतर इसके अंदर इजाफा हुआ है। और इजाफे का अगर मैं क्वांटम अगर आपके बीच में प्रस्तुत करूं, ओवर द पास्ट डेकेड फ्रॉम 2014 टू September, इंडिया रिसीव्ड 784 बिलियन, 60,24,500 करोड़, अकाउंटिंग फॉर 68 to 68.69%, जैसा मैंने पहले उल्लेख किया। The government has also introduced investor-friendly reforms such as allowing 100% FDI in most sectors and amending the Income Tax Act 24 to reduce taxes and abolish income tax. These factors collectively position India as a strong global investment destination, paving the way for sustainable economic growth. What more do you want from a government? If you are talking about statistics, let's talk about statistics. आंकड़े झूठ नहीं बोलते. इन आंकड़ों को जिन शब्दों से आप सार्वजनिक व्यवस्था के अंदर सेतु के रूप में प्रस्तुत करते हो, कई बार आपका आचरण असत्य कहला देता है. आंकड़े कभी भी झूठ नहीं बोलते. मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, जिस वक्त अर्थव्यवस्था वर्तमान सरकार ने 2014 में संभाली, उससे पहले की अर्थव्यवस्था क्या थी? अटल बिहारी प्रधानमंत्री जी की सरकार जिस वक्त हटी और यूपीए का पहला आया, उस वक्त 8% जीडीपी ग्रोथ के साथ में उस सरकार ने, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी की सरकार ने, इनको गवर्नमेंट ट्रांसफर हुई थी. उसके बाद में आपने क्या किया? एनुअल कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स यूपीए की सरकार के पहले काल में 9.1% था. यूपीए की सेकंड में 9.4% था. फाइनेंशियल ईयर 4 से लगाकर 14 तक एवरेज एनुअल इन्फ्लेशन 8.2% पे रहा. और ड्यूरिंग एनडीए, उसी वक्त का अगर आप देखें तो एनुअल सीपीआई इन्फ्लेशन ड्यूरिंग एनडीए 2014 to 19, मैं अभी वर्तमान सरकार के उस कालखंड की बात कर रहा हूं जो पहला कालखंड था, 3.4%. ये हमसे डबल से भी कुछ ज्यादा. उसके उपरांत भी ये कहते हैं कि आप में दोष है. शेम. और सेकंड टर्म पर थोड़ा ज्यादा था, 5.1%. अब आपकी फॉरेन करेंसी का क्या हाल था? फॉरेन बैलेंस का. ड्यूरिंग यूपीए फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स हैड डिक्लाइंड फ्रॉम USD 294 billion in July 2011 to USD 256 billion in August 2013. By September 2013, forex reserves were just enough to finance little over 6 months of imports, down from 17 months in the end of 2004 when they took over. Forex reserves to external debt ratio tanked from 95.8% in financial year 11 to 68.8% in financial year 24. आपके समय तो अर्थव्यवस्था ये थी. Reserves saw an increase of 9 point. Recently, India's foreign exchange reserves surged to a record high, reaching a new peak of 666.85 billion, and reserves saw an increase of 9.69 billion in just 1 week in the month of July last year. Now, this is not something that I have fabricated. These are books and international communities which have actually provided us with. Even if you go to see the present day statistics and go into it, India's current account deficit stands at 1.2% of GDP in Q2 of 25, lower than its long-term trend with support from buoyant service sector whose exports have grown to 11.6% on year-on-year basis. Fiscal deficit and revenue deficit being at a staunch 4.8% and 1.9% with an estimate 4.4% and 1.5% in financial year 26 to come. It only denotes that the most of the post-COVID fiscal burden has been unwound and India has a great chance of improving its sovereign rating, both being lower than pre-COVID levels. The reduction in personal income tax, of course, that I've already said, capital and revenue expenditure ratio, a key marker to judge quality of fiscal spending, is budgeted to increase to 28.4%, the highest in 2 decades. A great example of a fiscal prudence is center's outstanding liabilities in 25-26 are estimated to be 56% of GDP. Outstanding liabilities had declined from 52% of GDP in 2013-14 to 49% of GDP in 2019, that is prior to COVID. But unfortunately, the COVID led to a lot of other things. From 2019 to 20 onwards, outstanding liabilities unfortunately increased to 61% of GDP in 2021 due to COVID and have moderated therefore and is targeted to be less than 51%, is targeted to be less than 50% by the time we reach 2030. Throughout the last 11 years of the government, there has been a consistent rise in contribution of direct taxes as a share of the total tax revenue of the government, and indicating a rising trust in the government, simplification of tax reform and rising income levels. For the state of Rajasthan, an increased allocation of Jal Shakti Ministry from 47.95 crores to 99,503 crores in 25-26 comes as a boon, since the scheme has done wonders for the state. The Parvati Kalisan Chambal linking project, ERCP linking project, जो अब राजस्थान के लिए एक लाइफलाइन है, वहां के अन्नदाता के लिए एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जो इंदिरा गांधी नहर परियोजना के तुलनात्मक रूप से उतना ही ज्यादा काश्तकार, किसान और वहां के लोगों को लाभ पहुंचाएगा। मैं इस बात के लिए, और क्योंकि वो अब नेशनल प्रोजेक्ट में आ गया है, इसलिए मैं इस सरकार को और भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को साधुवाद देता हुआ उनका अभिनंदन करता हूं, स्वागत करता हूं। मैं एक निवेदन और आपसे करना चाहता हूं। There are two industries which come under service sector. Tourism, let's take how what the tourism say. The World Trade Council on Travel Tourism Economic Impact Report 2024, अगर आप उस चीज को देखेंगे तो आप पाएंगे मैं सिर्फ आपके बीच में वो आंकड़ा पेश करना चाहता हूं। The tourism sector is witnessing a remarkable recovery post-pandemic, with domestic tourism leading the way according to the World Travel and Tourism Council WTTC 24 Economic Impact Research. In 2023, the sector contributed over 19.13 trillion to the GDP, 10% above 2019 levels, and created nearly 43 million jobs, an 8% increase from 2019. वित्त मंत्री जी के पैरा 75-76 में हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, टूरिज्म के बारे में विस्तृत रूप से ब्यौरा है। मैं इस बात के लिए वित्त मंत्री जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि हार्मोनाइज्ड मेन लिस्ट में आपने होटल और हॉस्पिटल इंडस्ट्री को व्यवस्थित करने की जो बात कही है, वो 2022 के आपके एक्ट के अंदर लिमिट करती थी कि ऐसी इंडस्ट्री और हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंडस्ट्री और होटल जो उन शहर जिनकी जनसंख्या 10 लाख या उससे ज्यादा है, वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक्टिविटी में आएंगी। अब आपने क्योंकि इसमें अभिलिखित किया है, तो मैं आपसे उम्मीद करता हूं कि उस सीलिंग को हटाकर इस प्रकार की एक्टिविटी जहां भी हो, जो आपके टूरिस्ट सर्कल्स हैं, सर्किट्स हैं, या जो आप 50 नए डिस्ट्रिक्ट चयनित करेंगे, उसमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर व्यवस्था के अंदर टूरिज्म का आप व्यवस्थित स्वरूप को उसमें व्यवस्थित करने का कसरत कर्म करेंगे। ये मेरा आपसे निवेदन है। With the government initiative like 2047 vision targeting, sir, अब मैं सिर्फ आपको ये बता दूं, total GDP contribution travel tourism and jobs created, sir, 2019 6.9%, change by 41%, 9% change of total robust, and the jobs created are over 42 billion. 42 billion jobs created. And this is reaching 44, will go up to 45. And with the boost coming through the budget, maybe it will surpass even the 50 mark. तो ये क्योंकि मैं यूथ की बात कर रहा था, इसलिए मैंने रोजगार की बात। इसके अलावा एक और इंडस्ट्री है, एविएशन। तकरीबन 2030 आते आते 1700 नए एयरक्राफ्ट आपके पास में आएंगे। जब एक एयरक्राफ्ट आता है तो उस एक एयरक्राफ्ट के खरीद में सीधे 100 व्यक्तियों को रोजगार मिलता है, और 600 व्यक्तियों को अलाइड जो उसके साथ में होते हैं उनके जॉब्स की क्रिएशन होती है। आप इमेजिन करिए, अभी तो 750 हैं, अगर 1000 भी आ जाते हैं तो कितने नए रोजगार के संसाधन और जॉब्स उपलब्ध होंगे। ये एविएशन इंडस्ट्री की वो व्यवस्था है जिसके बारे में मैंने आपको उल्लेख किया है। You please let me know when my time runs out. मैं एक विषय और आपके बीच में बहुत आदर के साथ में रखना चाहूंगा। प्रमोशन ऑफ लेबर। आप जितना ऑटोमेशन लेके आ रहे हैं, बड़ी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री आती हैं, लेकिन नौकरियां कम होती हैं बिकॉज जो टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांसमेंट हुआ है, वहां ह्यूमन रिसोर्स एक ऐसा है जो धीरे धीरे ऑटोमेशन के साथ में फैक्ट्रियों में कम हो रहा है। लेकिन कुछ ऐसी व्यवस्थाएं हैं। होटल एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री है जहां कभी रोबोट काम नहीं कर सकता, वहां आपको व्यक्ति की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी। और बहुत सरल सा अर्थमेटिक है, एक अगर कमरा बनता है तो सीधे 2 से 3 लोगों को सीधा रोजगार मिलता है, और 8 ऐसे होते हैं जिनको उस कमरे के साथ साथ कोई स्वरोजगार और उपलब्ध होता है। तो जिस प्रकार से हमारी टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री बढ़ रही है उसमें, और जिस प्रकार से एविएशन इंडस्ट्री बढ़ रही है, अब मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, एक जो प्रमुख चीज थी ग्रीन एनर्जी। ग्रीन एनर्जी का एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण पहलू जो आपके वित्त मंत्री जी ने बहुत विस्तार से रखा, वो है भारत स्मॉल रिएक्टर्स। आज से पहले जितने भी न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स लगे हैं 700 से ज्यादा की क्षमता के लगे। देन इट विल कम टू स्मॉल मॉड्यूलर रिएक्टर्स, इट विल बी 300 और लेस। इसमें एक बहुत बड़ी व्यवस्था और है कि भारत के रेल मंत्रालय ने यह निश्चित किया है कि उनके जितने भी रेल हैं या ट्रेन्स हैं वो या तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पे चले या ऐसी एनर्जी पे चले जिसमें कार्बन फुटप्रिंट न्यूट्रल। और रेलवे मिनिस्टर ने भी न्यूक्लियर प्लांट के जरिए एनर्जी की व्यवस्था करने का एक संकल्प लिया है। अब बात यह आती है कि क्योंकि अब प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप के आधार पर आपके न्यूक्लियर प्लांट्स के अंदर आप निवेश करेंगे, तो ये बात सही है कि, और इसमें एक बात का उल्लेख करना बहुत जरूरी है, इसी साल जनवरी 2025 में द ईयर 2025 स्टार्टेड ऑन अ ब्राइट एंड, मैं ये इसलिए पढ़ रहा हूं कि जल्दी हो जाएगा, started on a bright and positive note for India-US cooperation in civilian nuclear energy. Visiting India for the last time as US Secretary of State on 6th of January 25, Jake Sullivan noted that the US in finalizing steps to remove long-standing regulations that have prevented civil nuclear cooperation between India's leading nuclear entities and US companies. Consequently, the US Bureau of Security has removed the names of 3 Indian institutions, the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, and Indian Rare Earths Limited from the entity list, representing a core component of the US export control policy intended to prevent proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The entity list basically consists of names of individual, business and organizations to whom exports of certain technologies and goods are restricted. This development came after US Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Resource Jeffrey R. Pye in February 24 termed the nuclear deal an important piece of unfinished business which both countries had a shared interest in. Now, these are the type of, we were agitating the other day on the foreign policy and how we are behaving, what we are doing. Now, these are, I'm not quoting from a political act, I'm quoting from a genuine issue which got resolved. We had this confrontation from 2010. Gradually, we have been able to resolve it. Just imagine 50% of your entire energy that is coming comes from an energy which creates a lot of carbon footprints. Even the others that come from also has a carbon. If we can do it, and if we can do it accordingly, I'm sure it will go a long way. There are a number of things that are happening. If I talk about the space industry, the space economy, we are the first one to give our country a space policy. 2023 is the one when we had space policy. Now we are entering into 100 satellites have already. It was 94 the last time when we met here in this house. Now it is 100. The Prime Minister congratulated the entire scientific world and the Department of Space and Research of what a wonderful job they have done. And these are commercially viable deals. We do it in much economical way than what the world does in this field. And I'm sure it opens a lot of other avenues and opportunities for the coming generation to go into space technology, to go into nuclear civil academic studies, and also adopt certain other issues which could create self-employment, or you create a knowledge which creates employment. These are the things which the budget has actually adheres to. I'm sure there are a lot of other statistics which the others would want to speak, so I don't want to dwell upon them. I've given a little brief of what it is. All that shines may not be gold, may not be gold, but what shines in the Indian budget is nothing but gold. That is how I want to conclude it. Thank you.
माननीय सदस्य श्री शिवपाल सिंह पटेल जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदया। मैं सबसे पहले धन्यवाद देता हूं समाजवादी पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी को, जिन्होंने मुझे सबसे पहले पार्टी का पक्ष रखने के लिए समय दिया। बड़े दुख की बात है कि अमेरिका ने भारतवासियों का अपमान किया और सरकार संवेदनहीन रही नजर आ रही है। इसी तरह से चीन ने भी हमारी जमीन का एक बहुत बड़ा भूभाग हथिया लिया और हमारे बहुत से जवानों को भी बीच बीच में मौत के घाट उतारा, लेकिन हमारी सरकार मूक दर्शक बनी रही। इसीलिए ये देश हमें बहुत कम करके आंकते हैं। इनकी नजर में हमारी हैसियत कम है। आपको याद होगा हमारे विश्व गुरु ने कभी भारत के दिल्ली, मुंबई, आगरा और अहमदाबाद में नमस्ते ट्रंप कराया था, जिससे वहां कोरोना भी फैल गया था। और फिर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जी के दूसरे चुनाव में अमेरिका जाकर के अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार का नारा देकर के प्रचार प्रसार भी किया था। वो तो कहते थे कि डोनाल्ड ट्रंप हमारे मित्र हैं, फिर भी इस सरकार ने, ट्रंप सरकार ने देश की इतनी बेइज्जती क्यों की? यह एक विचारणीय विषय है। दूसरी तरफ चीन को लें, जिसने अपने देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट पर जबरदस्त काम किया है। अभी कुछ ही दिन पूर्व अमेरिका की एक एआई आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी चैट जीपीटी, जिसे अमेरिका अजेय कहता था, उसके अनुसार उसे कोई बना भी नहीं सकता, उस सॉफ्टवेयर को पूरी दुनिया में बेचकर खूब पैसे कमाता था। चीन ने ऐसे सॉफ्टवेयर पर सोचा जो भारत नहीं कर पाया। चीन ने कुछ योग्य युवाओं को लगा करके नया एआई सॉफ्टवेयर डीप सीक बनाकर पूरी दुनिया में तहलका मचा दिया और अमेरिका को हजारों बिलियन डॉलर का नुकसान पहुंचाया। सारे अमेरिकी डर गए। इसे कहते हैं नहले पर दहला। लेकिन हमारी सरकार ऐसा कुछ सोचने के बजाय आज भी वही गाय, गोबर, गोमूत्र, कांवड़ यात्रा, कुंभ, धार्मिक झगड़े, धार्मिक स्थलों की खुदाई में ही लगी रहती। यहाँ तक कि जब जापानी प्रधानमंत्री शिंजो आबे जी जब भारत आए तो उनसे घंटों आरती करवाई गई, गंगा आरती करवाई गई थी। शायद इसीलिए ये देश आज भी हमें सपेरे और आदिवासियों की से ही तुलना करते होंगे। सरकार को चाहिए कि हम भी चीन की तरह मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर को मजबूत करें, नई नई टेक्नोलॉजी का हर क्षेत्र में जमकर उपयोग करें और हायर एजुकेशन में रिसर्च पर जोर दें और एजुकेशन का बजट अधिक से अधिक बढ़ाएं। एजुकेशन जिससे देश के हर क्षेत्र में तरक्की मिलती है, उसका बजट यह सरकार घटाती जा रही है। अच्छी शिक्षा व्यवस्था से ही हम दुनिया के समृद्ध देशों की श्रेणी में खड़े हो पाएंगे। सरकार द्वारा प्रस्तुत इस बजट से गरीब और अमीर पिछले 10 वर्षों की तरह और अमीर ही बनेगा। देश में सबसे अधिक आबादी वाले किसान, मजदूर, मध्यम वर्ग तथा छोटे व्यापारियों के लिए किसी भी तरह की राहत की घोषणा इस बजट में नहीं की गई है। युवाओं के लिए रोजगार का कोई ठोस कार्य योजना प्रस्तुत नहीं की गई है, जिससे बेरोजगारी की समस्या और बढ़ेगी। अतः बजट में युवाओं के लिए अधिक से अधिक रोजगार के अवसर देने हेतु विचार करें। प्रधानमंत्री जी तो अपने भाषण में उपरोक्त बातों को बहुत बढ़ा चढ़ाकर कहते हैं। हमेशा की तरह कथनी और करनी में बहुत बड़ा अंतर है और सरकार का दोहरा चरित्र उजागर हुआ है। कुंभ पर सरकार ने हजारों करोड़ रुपए खर्च किए, फिर भी कितनी बड़ी अव्यवस्था रही सब जानते हैं। कभी सैकड़ों टेंट जलकर भस्म हो जाते हैं, कभी भारी संख्या में लोग भगदड़ में दबकर मर जाते हैं, फिर भी सरकार की कान पर कोई जूं नहीं रेंगती। और तो और कुछ तथाकथित संत महात्मा मरने वालों को मोक्ष प्राप्त तक की संज्ञा दे डालते हैं। ऐसा केवल भारत और बीजेपी के ही शासनकाल में हो सकता है। प्रधानमंत्री जी जब विदेश जाते हैं तो कहते हैं कि हम बुद्ध की धरती से आए हैं, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं कि भगवान बुद्ध पूरी दुनिया में पूजे जाते हैं, लेकिन भारत में कभी भी भगवान बुद्ध का नाम नहीं लेते, क्योंकि डरते हैं यदि वो उनका नाम लेंगे तो उनकी पार्टी के बहुत से लोग उनसे नाराज हो जाएंगे। ये लोग नहीं चाहते हैं कि भगवान बुद्ध का भारत में उतना सम्मान हो। इसीलिए बौद्ध तीर्थ स्थलों को जोड़ने वाले बौद्ध सर्किट के निर्माण व रखरखाव के लिए इस बजट में कोई घोषणा नहीं की गई। यहाँ तक कि कुशीनगर में बनाए गए एयरपोर्ट को शुरू करने के बाद भी बंद कर दिया गया, जहाँ पर हजारों श्रद्धालु और विदेशी पर्यटक आते हैं। इससे पर्यटन को भी बढ़ावा मिलता और देश की अर्थव्यवस्था में भी सहयोग होता। इसलिए सरकार से अनुरोध है कि बौद्ध सर्किट के विकास के लिए अधिक से अधिक बजट दिया जाए और कुशीनगर के एयरपोर्ट को शीघ्र ही चालू किया जाए। सरकार से यह भी अनुरोध है कि लोगों के धर्म के नाम पर बांटने के बजाय दूसरे धर्मों के स्थलों को भी बजट की घोषणा की जाए, बजट दें एवं उनका संरक्षण भी करें, जिससे आपसी भाईचारा बढ़ेगा और देश में खुशहाली होगी। भारत सरकार मेक इन इंडिया का जोर शोर से प्रचार करती है, लेकिन कितना मेक इन इंडिया है सब जानते हैं। मेक इन इंडिया केवल कहने और दिखावे के लिए है, क्योंकि ज्यादातर सामान चीन, अमेरिका और कुछ अन्य देशों से ही आयात किया जाता है। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में हम बहुत बुरी तरह से फेल हुए हैं। इनके दोहरे चरित्र पर यह शेर बहुत फिट बैठता है कि मैं को शब खूब सी पी, शब को मैं खूब सी पी, सुबह को तौबा कर ली, रिंद के रिंद रहे, हाथों से जन्नत न गई। इस बजट में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के लिए कोई भी नई घोषणा नहीं की गई है, जिससे देश में आयात और अधिक बढ़ेगा और देश विदेशी कर्ज में डूबेगा। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बड़े जोर शोर से ये भी कहा कि 25 करोड़ देशवासी गरीबी रेखा से ऊपर आ गए हैं। इस पर मेरा प्रश्न है कि अगर 25 करोड़ लोग गरीबी रेखा से ऊपर आ गए हैं तो 80 करोड़ लोगों को फ्री राशन क्यों दिया जा रहा है? जल नल योजना का तो ये हाल है कि गांवों में मात्र पाइपलाइन बिछा दी गई है और वहां पर धरातल पर कुछ नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री जी कहते हैं जाति की बात करना आज कुछ लोगों का फैशन हो गया है, जबकि वो स्वयं कहते हैं कि मैं पिछड़े समाज का हूँ, मेरी माँ दूसरे के यहाँ बर्तन मांजती थी, मैं चाय बेचता था आदि आदि। बुनियादी चीजों पर ध्यान न देकर केवल वाहवाही लूटने वाले काम करना इस सरकार की नीयत रही है। जीडीपी में भारी गिरावट हुई है, इस पर सरकार का कोई ध्यान नहीं है। रुपए का जितना अवमूल्यन इस सरकार में हुआ है उतना कभी नहीं हुआ। बढ़ती महंगाई के बीच आवश्यक वस्तुओं की कीमतों को नियंत्रित करने के लिए सरकार के पास कोई ठोस कदम नहीं है। इससे आम जनता पर आर्थिक बोझ पड़ेगा। किसानों के लिए इस बजट में कोई नई योजना नहीं है और न ही MSP न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य पर कोई ठोस घोषणा की गई है। किसानों की फसल का लागत मूल्य भी नहीं मिल पा रहा है। किसान दिन पर दिन गरीब होता जा रहा है। KCC पर लोन की लिमिट बढ़ाए जाने से किसान का कोई भला नहीं होने वाला। जब उन्हें फसल की लागत का मूल्य नहीं मिल पाता तो वह लोन लेकर कर्ज में और डूबेगा ही। किसान का जब फसल बोने का समय आता है तो DAP और यूरिया का अकाल पड़ जाता है। सरकार के बिचौलिए इन खादों को अपने गोदामों में छुपाकर महंगे दामों पर बेचते हैं और किसान टाइम से फसल भी नहीं बो पाते। इसलिए सरकार से अनुरोध है अन्नदाता किसानों को समय से सस्ती खाद बिजली उपलब्ध
प्लीज कंप्लीट करिए।
तो अभी तो बहुत कुछ बोलना था, मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ
जी। धन्यवाद धन्यवाद। माननीय सदस्य श्री अभिषेक बनर्जी जी।
Honorable Chairperson Ma'am and esteemed members of this august House, today I rise here not just to respond to the Union budget that was presented by the Honorable Finance Minister for the year 2025-26, but also to expose the grand illusion it weaves, a mirage, a deception, or rather a golden deer budget. Well, all of you must be wondering, why am I referring to this budget as the golden deer budget? The 2025 Union budget is nothing but a Marich moment from the Ramayana, an elaborate illusion designed to deceive. Just as the demon Marich took the golden form of deer to lure Ma Sita away, the NDA government has crafted a shiny, dazzling budget promising prosperity while hiding the economic catastrophe beneath. This budget might shimmer, but it's hollow as a treasure chest filled with air. It has flashy promises of tax cuts, economic growth, infrastructure hype to distract the common man, but beneath this illusion lies a brutal reality. Hidden indirect taxes, soaring inflation, slashed public spendings, and last but not the least, corporate giveaways. Just as Ma Sita was misled, the common people are being pulled away from financial stability straight into a fiscal wrecking ball. This government proudly proclaims no income tax for incomes up to 12 lakh rupees. But behind the scenes, they silently ensure the lost revenue is recovered through rising fuel prices, inflated service charges, hidden taxes on daily essentials, and the middle class, much like Lakshman warning Ma Sita, is skeptical, but BJP's propaganda and PR machinery is desperately working overtime to ensure that the common man and the people of this country still chase the golden deer anyway. What is given by one hand is being swiftly taken by the other. Just as in Ramayana, by the time people realize and recognize the deception, the economy has already been handed over to the Ravanas of crony capitalism, while the common man is left struggling to afford groceries, fuel, travel, healthcare, and even a simple movie night, all while being taxed for merely just existing. Madam, the budget presented by the NDA government is a masterclass in half-truths, half accountability, half delivery of schemes, and half-hearted governance. From half-built houses under PMAY to half-achieved farmer income targets, the government continues to sell dreams while delivering only fragments of reality. Infrastructure projects remain half-finished, welfare schemes reach half the beneficiaries, and their failed economic policies cater to half the population, leaving the rest in uncertainty. This is not a vision for developed India. It's a half-baked agenda wrapped in propaganda. Make no mistake, much like demonetization, GST, and the draconian farm laws, the full extent of devastation will only be visible when the smoke clears. I'll start with half-truths. So the NDA government in Maharashtra launched the Ladki Behan. Ma'am, the NDA government in Maharashtra launched the Latki Behan DBT scheme for women in Maharashtra just before the assembly elections last year to use it as a political bait. Now with the elections over, they have conveniently started scrutinizing beneficiaries, thus removing 60 lakh women from the scheme. This is yet another jumla running deep in your veins, and people see through this betrayal and they are watching. Another betrayal, ma'am. Before the elections, the government promised a legal guarantee for MSP. After the election, the promise have disappeared without a trace. Madam Finance Minister is here and I'm glad she's present in the House. She in her speech mentioned that, and she began her speech with a flourish on agricultural growth. But when it came to MSP, the one demand that every farmer of this country has raised, there was only silence. No legal guarantee, no relief from the crippling debt. Instead of waiving farm loans, the government has increased the Kisan credit limit, which essentially means handing farmers more debt than relief. Since 2014, and whatever data I'm quoting in the House, if the chair wants, I'll lay it on the table of the House before tonight. Ma'am, since 2014, in the last 10 years, there have been 1 lakh farmer suicide. That's one suicide every hour. These aren't just numbers. They're a grim reminder of a system that abandons those who feed the nation while they conveniently feed lies to the entire country. They boasted of digital India, but conveniently ignore the dire state of our schools. While flashy slogans flood social media, the harsh reality is PM Poshan remains stagnant, leaving millions of children without nutritious food. More than 50% of the children under the age of 5 suffer from chronic malnutrition, with 17% underweight, 36% stunted, and 6% wasted. A crisis screaming for attention, and yet the budget for PM Poshan remains dejectedly inadequate, proving once again that the union government is invested more in headlines than hungry children. Another half-truth: before the elections, the NDA government or the ruling party, BJP, promised LPG cylinders for all. But in reality, 1.2 crore households, I repeat the figure, 1.2 crore households could not afford even a single refill in 2022-23 because of their exorbitant price hikes. This is not upliftment. This is abandonment. When people have to choose between a meal and a refill, their promise is nothing but a cruel joke. In 2019, the cabinet approved 8,574 crore for the census. Yet in 2025, today, even after 5 years, only 570 crore has been allocated in this year's budget. 5 years late and still counting. And this is not happening this year either. But why does this matter? Why am I talking about census? Because without a census, every policy, every income tax slab revision, and every economic projection is simply and just a blind projection and a blind gamble. The Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, Women Reservation Act, which was passed by calling a special session 18 months back in 2023, can't be implemented as its rollout depends on the completion of the next census and subsequent delimitation. Both are yet to be scheduled. The government seems to prefer running the country on guesstimates and propaganda rather than real data, because facts expose their failures and they would rather keep the nation in the dark. As we look at the economic policies of the NDA government, one cannot help but see a pattern. And what is the pattern? Ma'am, the pattern is of or if I am to say, it resembles the tale of a reverse Robin Hood. What is a reverse Robin Hood? We know the story of Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. BJP has mastered the art of taking from the poor and giving it to the wealthy elite. So reverse Robin Hood. For instance, I'll give you an example. For instance, the waiving of corporate loans worth thousands of crores using taxpayers' money, while poor farmers struggling with small debts are left to suffer. The government claims to have no money to increase subsidies on essential commodities, yet it slashes corporate tax rates, giving billionaires an even bigger slice of the pie. This is not economic justice. This is economic favoritism at its worst. Then I talk about, or rather I'll come to half federalism. You know, all the members sitting in this house have never heard of this phrase. This is a phrase that I've coined. Half federalism. Why I say half federalism? I'll give you another example just to understand it better. Madam, in Bihar, BJP's ally, Janata Dal United or JDU, have 12 seats. That means BJP has 12 MPs in Bihar. And in Bengal, BJP has 12 MPs. BJP is in power in Bihar and BJP is not in power in Bengal. So Bihar gets bonanza, Bengal gets blockade. This is half federalism. Madam, not a single meaningful financial allocation has been made for the state of Bengal. This is a Bangla Birodhi budget. 1.7 lakh crore is still due to the state of West Bengal under various heads. This is a deliberate financial blockade, a calculated move to stifle Bengal's growth, prosperity and development. West Bengal's spending due on Manrega to the tune of 7,000 crore still remains unpaid, depriving 59 lakh poor workers. The state has launched Karmashri scheme for providing employment opportunities to job card holders, paying 51 lakh workers from its own funds. The central government has not cleared 8,140 crores in housing dues for rural Bengal under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, depriving 12 lakh beneficiaries. The state government launched the Banglar Bari project last year in the month of December, providing housing to 12 lakh beneficiaries entirely from the state's own funds. Why am I giving you these facts? Because all of you, especially the members sitting in the treasury benches, must know, even though you have deprived West Bengal, the state continues to stand tall as a true testament, an example of Atma Nirbharata, where the mind is without fear, where the head is held high. Chitto jeta bhoy shunno, uchcho jeta shir. While the center withhold funds and play politics with the people of Bengal and their livelihoods, Bengal refuses to beg. We build, we provide, we progress, we grow with or without their support. Bengal has more than doubled its export in the last 10 years. 57 lakh new MSMEs have been added, employing over 1 crore people. Bengal's handloom industry employs over 5 lakh workers, which is the second highest in the country. The state's broadband policy, formulated in 2020, resulted in investment of 7,500 crore in the telecom sector alone. Almost 3 lakh direct employment has been generated in IT companies. Bengal has over 88 lakh MSMEs, which is the second highest in the country. 1 out of 5 MSME are owned by women, which is highest in the country. 36% of workers in these enterprises are female, third highest in the country. Madam, now I'll come to health. India remains one of the lowest healthcare spenders globally, investing a mere 3% of its GDP, far behind China's 5% and United States of America's 16%. For a country of 140 crore people, this level of investment is not just inadequate, it's an outright betrayal of public health. The government has opened floodgates for 100% FDI in insurance, happily inviting foreign profits, but refuses to remove the crushing 18% GST on health insurance. So while the corporates enjoy free rein, the common man is taxed while they are fighting for their own lives. This is not reform. This is a rigged game where the poor and the downtrodden and the common people of the country are deliberately made to lose. Instead of strengthening government hospitals, this government prioritizes private insurance. Models like PMJAY, whose allocations shot up by 29%, essentially funneling public money into corporate pockets. Strengthening public health care could have benefited millions, but instead government chose to privatize health care under the guise of welfare. And if the government truly cared about public health, why has funding for mental health programs like National Tele-Mental Health Scheme has been slashed by 16%? Why is NIMHANS, which is the country's top health mental institute, facing budget cuts? The answer is simple. The government just doesn't care. If healthcare were a priority, this budget would be investing in real solutions, not just mere illusions. Under BJP rule, all of them combined, they excel in crafting headlines. But when it comes to hospitals, medicines, genuine public health investment, the reality is nothing short of an empty set. Madam, now I'll come to half minister. I spoke about half truths. I spoke about half federalism. Now let's talk about half minister. Because our part-time railway minister is also juggling between two other ministries. One is electronics and IT, and the other one is information and broadcasting. Running the Indian Railways, which is considered as a lifeline for millions, is not a side gig, madam. But under BJP, governance has become a multitasking circus, delivering half-baked results everywhere. Why I say this? Because from the time this government came in, they have discontinued the railway budget. What they have done for safety? How many kilometers have been covered under Kavach? Between 2015 to 2024, there has been 678 consequential railway accidents, where more than 784 people have lost their lives, leaving more than 2,000 injured. No wonder tracks are crumbling, the tech sector is struggling, and the media is drowning in propaganda. Then, ma'am, I come to half-baked answers. I can ask 50 questions or 100 questions to the government, but let me ask only 5. Why did you promise the people of this country a $5 trillion economy by 2025? We are in 2025 today, in the month of February. And looking at the rate India is growing, that goal will not even be achieved by 2037. Forget about 2025. Why did you slash funds for LPG connection to poor households by 30% over revised estimates? Why have you slashed funds for crop insurance scheme by 25% over revised estimates? Why has the Data Protection Board of India given only 5 crore rupees when the cost of running Parliament for a single day is more than 9 crore rupees? Why has the budget allocation for minority affairs have been slashed by 57%, decreasing significantly from 1,575 crores in 24-25 to 678 crores in 25-26? These are hard facts. These are data. Ma'am, now I come to half accountability. After half truths, after half federalism, after half minister, after half-baked answers, I come to half accountability. A government is expected to be 100% accountable. But this coalition government believes in half accountability. You all must be wondering, where is the other 50%? Well, that's conveniently covered by the Godi media. Because if you ask the media, according to them, this government is working 200%, is functioning at 200% efficiency. And in their world, in the media's world, there are no failures. Failures are invisible. Questions are forbidden. The only policy is propaganda. Ma'am, let me make just two quick points to prove their half accountability. In price rise, the food inflation in 2024 averaged at 8%. In October, food inflation was at 14-month high. The bottom 5% spends 66 rupees a day, while the cost of 2 veg thalis exceeds 150 rupees. Household savings have dipped to a 50-year low. In case of unemployment, youth unemployment is at a staggering 45%. 3 out of 10 graduates today are unemployed. Under PMKVY, only 18% of the trained candidates were placed. Over 90% of the workforce employed in the informal sector lack job security and benefits. Madam, now I'll come to half delivery. Now let me present before you a few examples of half delivered services. Time and again, this government has misled the people, making tall claims, but has failed to deliver where it truly matters. I'll start with Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Launched with much hype and fanfare to promote girl child education and welfare, yet over 80% of the scheme's budget was spent on publicity rather than spending it on the actual benefit for girls. Then I come to Jan Dhan Yojana, bank accounts without bank services. Under the Jan Dhan Yojana, 54.66 crore, that means 50 crore, 54 crore, 66 lakh accounts were opened. But 11 crore, 58 lakh accounts remains inoperative. And out of this 54 crore accounts, 33 crore, 67 lakh accounts have balance less than 1,000 rupees. This is a perfect example of financial inclusion in paper, but financial struggle in reality. Ma'am, they spoke about doubling farmers' income, a forgotten promise. They promised to double the farmers' income by 2022. We are in 2025. But today, farmers are drowning in debt, facing stagnant crop prices, rising input costs, and no legal MSP guarantee. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana benefit insurance companies more than the farmers. Smart Cities Mission, hype versus reality. They promised over 100 smart cities, but most projects today remain on paper or are rather incomplete. Basic infrastructure in many towns are crumbling while funds remain underutilized or diverted to beautification projects. They spoke about making in India. That means they spoke about revolutionizing the manufacturing industry. But what is the reality and truth of Make in India? More imports, less manufacturing. Local industry today struggles under the rising imports from China, inconsistent policies, and low capital investment. Instead of boosting domestic production, India's trade deficit with China has skyrocketed over the years. Unemployment, they promised about 2 crore jobs every year, but in reality, unemployment remains at a 45-year high. They promised houses for all by 2022, yet another broken promise. In 2015, a promise was made to provide every household a home by 2022. 3 years later, in 2025, as the deadline passed, millions still await promised homes, highlighting delays and unmet expectations. Pattern, if you look at the pattern, big announcement and half execution, or rather zero execution. From infrastructure to education, health to employment, BJP's governance is a pattern of half delivery. Grand promises, incomplete execution, and shifting blame when failures are exposed. This budget is like when I went through the budget, I was here when Madam Finance Minister presented the budget, but later I went through the budget document. Ma'am, all I realized is this budget is like those promises where you promise free meals, but charges exorbitantly for, giving a chair to sit, free water, service. So this budget is like a buffet that promises free meal, but charges exorbitantly for water, service, and cutlery. While taxpayers find momentary relief in minor reduction in income tax slabs, the government swiftly offsets these benefits through indirect taxes on fuel, essential commodities, rising road tolls, and higher consumer good prices driven by the increased GST rates. It's evident that these reliefs are nothing more than a mere illusion. Much like the Jio's once free data plans, attracting millions of users at a time, and then they raised the tariff sharply, which now comes monthly at a hefty price tag. The government claims to provide relief, but the reality for the middle class tells a different story. Let me give you another small example, and these are real examples. The government claims of an 80,000 tax benefit for an individual whose income is 12 lakh rupees annually. But it's nothing but a misleading farce. They thumb their chest about relief while simultaneously bleeding the common taxpayer dry through GST and unchecked inflation. A taxpayer in this income bracket, that means someone who is earning 12 lakh rupees annually, spends on essential categories like food, housing, education, healthcare, railway travel, air travel, transport, recreation, and each of these are subjected to steep GST rates under NDA's failed economic policies. The result, if you do a quick calculation, you will see that someone earning 12 lakh rupees ends up inadvertently paying 98,000 in GST. So the illusion of 80,000 tax benefit that BJP is desperately trying to sell, in reality is snatched away from GST alone. That means someone earning 12 lakh rupees is inadvertently having to pay 98,000 rupees on the account of GST alone. Then you have surcharges, you have cess, you have toll tax, you have many other tax. You have STT, security tax. And why I talk about GST? Because whatever one required to exist, madam, from medicines to tea, from toiletries to toothpaste, from hair oil to cooking oil, from fuel to oxygen cylinders, from rice to sugar, from butter to ghee, from undergarments to footwear, from biscuits to even popcorn at the movies, everything is taxed. In fact, more is lost to GST than they claim to give back. To make matters worse, there are several other taxes like I mentioned. There is toll tax, there are security transaction tax, there are cesses, there are surcharges, and then there's inflation also, which continues to erode whatever little remains. With an average 6% annual inflation, if someone is earning 12 lakh rupees today, that will shrink down to 10 lakh in 3 years. The only thing that is not taxed, or is rather untouched, is BJP's list of misleading promises and their sheer incompetence. That's only untaxed. The budget remains completely failure, and the budget also reminds me from a scene from a popular movie of Three Idiots. All of us have seen the movie. It went very popular, and throughout caste, creed, and religion, everyone loved the movie. So, ma'am, the budget reminds me of the movie Three Idiots, where Amir Khan's character, Rancho, exposes the education system's obsession with rote learning over genuine understanding. Similarly, today's government reminds me of the deceptive college director virus. And the role of virus was played by, I'm not talking about the viruses present here, I'm talking about the college director virus whose role was played by Boman Irani. So the college director virus, what he used to do? He used to offer flashy numbers, grand schemes that prioritized ranking over real progress. Much like virus, the focus seems to be on the surface level over real achievements, presenting a polished image rather than addressing the true needs of the people. Or if we take a page from the history, the British during the colonial rule, they promised reforms while continuing to exploit India's resources. BJP's budget follows the same playbook, advertising tax relief while ensuring the burden is transferred through hidden economic policies that favor big corporations and the elite, leaving small businesses and working class struggling. Madam, the budget presented over the last one decade perfectly sums up NDA and the BJP's version of Achhe Din, reflecting not just their grand narrative, but also the harsh reality of common people's struggle under the NDA's rule and regime. If I'm a citizen of India, I have to pay tax on the money I earn. If I'm a citizen of India, I have to pay tax on the money I spend. I'm a citizen of India, I have to pay tax on the things I buy, I have to pay tax on the things I sell. And moreover, pay tax on things that are already taxed, bought with money that is already taxed. Just imagine, you earn, you pay tax. You spend, you pay tax. You buy, you pay tax. You sell, you pay tax. And then You pay tax on things those are already taxed from the money that is already taxed. This sums up the budget completely. The people of India have woken up, and they will no longer be misled by these empty promises and false claims. The government must pay attention to the aspirations of 140 crore citizens. If they don't, they should brace themselves. What started as a teaser in June 2024 will soon become a full-blown blockbuster. After all, the saying goes, never underestimate the power of the common man. And they are all, every Indian who's watching this, who has seen the budget, who has voted in 24 and is going to vote again, exercise their franchise, they are far better scriptwriters than the BJP members of this House. India now sees the truth clearly. BJP stands for Bhashan, Jumla and Propaganda, where speeches replaces real action. And NDA stands for, well, no prize for guessing, not delivering anything. Thank you, Madam. Jai Hind.
माननीय सदस्य श्री डी प्रसाद राव जी।
Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to address this transformative and growth-oriented budget. I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Honorable Finance Minister for presenting the Viksit Bharat budget. With India projected to contribute 15% to global economic growth between 24 and 29, this budget embodies the vision of self-reliant and prosperous nation. Under the dynamic leadership of Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu and the NDA government, Andhra Pradesh has seen crucial developments such as the revival of Visakhapatnam steel plant with an allocation of 11,440 crore and the timely establishment of South Coast Railway Zone. Moreover, the 15,000 crore allocation for Amaravati's development and the ongoing progress of Polavaram project further highlight the government's commitment to regional growth. This is due to the synchronized governance of NDA government under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister. This Viksit Bharat budget is designed to create a robust foundation for the growth through three key strategies. One is the income limit set at 12 lakh rupees. So this will lead to maybe as Finance Minister was saying, 1 lakh crore rupees was lost to the government and given to the people. So even if 20% is kept for savings, 80,000 crore rupees will be spent on the market. So if that happens, spending happens, business will improve, and the employment also, consequent employment also will improve. Particularly when they spend on online purchases, the gig workers and Zomato and Swiggy like people will employ more people. Secondly, other tax proposals also included TDS and TCS rates reduced. Secondly, the government has focused on credit creation by providing facilities across all sectors. For agriculture, the Kisan Card credits offer short-term loans to 7.7 crore farmers, fishermen and dairy farmers. For micro enterprises, customized credit cards with 5 lakh limit are available via Udyam portal. The Grameen Credit Score framework for rural areas and self-help groups further encourages credit creation, leading to a higher money multiplier effect and increased investment in contributing to the vision of Viksit Bharat. Thirdly, the reduction in basic customs on several products such as drugs and leather aims to reduce the import dependency. As the government has taken a decision to reduce the import deficiency in fertilizers and particularly urea. One example of reducing import dependency is the revival of urea plants in Assam. In 2023, India imported 7.5 million tons of urea. The revival of 3 urea plants in Assam will help reduce this import dependency, boost domestic manufacturing, and foster self-reliance and strengthening the economy and moving us towards a Viksit Bharat. Therefore, boosting consumption, increasing credit, incentivizing domestic manufacturing are key methods to create wealth. This Viksit Bharat budget strikes a perfect balance between wealth creation and welfare measures, ensuring that economic growth benefits all sections of society. The budget places a strong emphasis on empowering marginalized and vulnerable communities, particularly focusing on women, children, and scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. This fosters entrepreneurship and innovation with these communities. A new scheme has been introduced to support first-time entrepreneurs from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and women. Under this initiative, the term loans up to 2 crore will be provided over the next 5 years, building on the successful framework of Stand Up India scheme. This step will empower individuals from disadvantaged communities to start their own business, creating economic opportunities and contributing to their socio-economic upliftment. The budget for the Department of Social Justice for 25 has been remarkably increased of 35.76% compared to the revised estimates, underlining the NDA government's unwavering commitment to improving the socio-economic conditions of marginalized communities. These increased allocations will play a crucial role in ensuring inclusive growth and providing equitable opportunities to all. For women, the budget introduces several measures to promote their welfare. A key highlight is the Saksham Anganwadi and Posham 2 programs provides nutritional support to more than 8 crore children, 1 crore pregnant women and lactating mothers all over the country, and about 20 lakh adolescent girls. The budget also recognizes the importance of children's welfare with increased allocations and aimed at enhancing educational opportunities. Programs like Samagra Shiksha and PM Sri have seen significant hikes, ensuring better access to quality education. The allocation for Samagra Shiksha is set to rise from 37,499 crore in 24-25 to 41,245 crore in 25-26. Similarly, PM Sri's budget increases from 6,050 crore to 7,500 crores. So these increases will facilitate better infrastructure, resources, quality education, setting a strong foundation for the future of our children, enabling them to contribute meaningfully to the nation's growth. The National Rural Livelihood Mission budget will rise from 15,047 crores to 19,005 crore, which will directly benefit rural communities by enhancing livelihood opportunities and supporting sustainable development. This allocation will enable marginalized groups to access vital resources, education, and opportunities, promoting economic and social inclusion. In conclusion, the Viksit Bharat budget is a remarkable treatment to the perfect harmony between health creation and welfare, paving the way for inclusive and sustainable growth. For Andhra Pradesh, the future shines brightly as the state's strategic developments boosted by this visionary budget will undoubtedly position it as a vibrant engine driving India's rise. As we work together toward a Viksit Bharat, Andhra Pradesh will stand tall as a shining example of progress and prosperity. In addition to this, I have a few suggestions. Honorable Finance Minister, please consider to keep an eye on fiscal deficit and interest payments which are increasing. And government schemes for downtrodden, that is SC, ST and BCs, are not reaching to the target people. One example is that the allocation for food supplies in the budget is major, which is being merged with the PDS system.